Uh-oh.
Okay, we'll start with this. The latest as it pertains to former unified super featherweight champion turned welterweight contender Mikaela Mayer, who is now targeting a fight with Sandy Ryan, the current reigning WBO welterweight champion.
I thought she was going to fight Natasha Jonas.
Mikaela Mayer is targeting a fight with Sandy Ryan. In many ways, this week has resulted in a new beginning for Mikaela. Any lingering hopes for an immediate rematch with Natasha ended without reward. A fight for different reasons that both Jonas and Mayer desperately wanted. Both were working together to get the fight over the line once the originally intended date of June 15th on Boxer,
that's dead,
that is now being headlined by Chris Billum-Smith and Richard Riakporhe, fell away. All parties explored all available options to save the fight, including the possibility of doing the fight in America before a UK platform was eventually sourced.
So the rematch would have been in UK, just like the first one.
Top Rank wasn't going to bring it to America to give Mikaela Mayer the home field advantage that Natasha benefited from.
I'm not surprised.
A date and venue in July were seemingly locked in, terms were agreed, the problems laid elsewhere. Neither fighter is to blame for the fight not being made. There was still hope that the fight could be salvaged as late as the beginning of this week, but there now appears to be an acceptance that the fight is now dead in the water. The outstanding issues were who was paying for the rematch and, more crucially, who wasn't.
I don't understand. Why couldn't they just do the rematch under the original terms?
Terms from the first fight? Because somebody didn't want to pay. The final nail in the coffin was who would have had the option to promote a possible third fight if Mayer won the return fight. That finer detail was ultimately why the fight is now not happening.
Wavering commitment from Top Rank.
I think so, because in a situation where Mikaela Mayer wins the rematch, if there is to be a third fight, one would think they would bring it to America. If the first two were in the UK, why wouldn't the third fight be in America? Could be because Top Rank didn't want to pay for it.
I'm just guessing.
Both Jonas and Mayer will now seek alternatives for their next fight. Mikaela Mayer is already making moves. She still has that date in July in play if a suitable opponent can be found, and the American has a number of top-level names in mind who she wants to fight on that potential July date. Work is ongoing to secure an opponent that mutually satisfies. Mayer isn't interested in repeating the situation she was in last year, fighting opponents that didn't threaten or inspire her. Legacy-enhancing fights are what she craves.
So she's got a date in July, but to fight under what banner? The Boxer banner? The Top Rank banner?
Her next fight is not the only area of her fighting life that she is making moves in. A situation that has been more than rumbling since January has now been resolved. Fight Post is of the understanding that Kay Koroma is no longer part of the Mayer inner circle. A conflict of interest with potential future opponent Sandy Ryan, the WBO welterweight champion, is the reason why Mayer has decided to move on without him. Koroma was in Ryan's corner when she defeated Terry Harpier in Sheffield in March. I've had the same team my entire career. I'm loyal to the bone, but I have boundaries and they have been crossed. Mayer posted on her X account overnight, signaling the end of her long working relationship with Prosper.
Kay's off the team.
Mayer has already identified his replacement. Al Mitchell, who has been with Mayer since her amateur days, remains very much part of the new setup.
But Al Mitchell was already there. He was already part of the team. How does he replace Kay Koroma?
What it might have been is that even though Al Mitchell has been there in Mikaela's corner from the very beginning, he's getting up there in age, and perhaps they brought Kay Koroma on to assume his role.
But him working with Sandy was the last straw.
The breakdown in the talks for the rematch with Jonas have left Mayer with no alternative but to look at other options for her route back into the world title picture. With Boxer now having Jonas, Lauren Price, and Ivana Habazin under some kind of contractual obligation, Mayer only has Ryan as a more immediate option for a fight with a world title. As a result, the WBO title holder is now her primary target. The removal of Kay Koroma from the Mayer camp removes that conflict of interest. The American has wasted no time in calling Ryan out.
This happens all the time in the sport.
All the time. Like how Lawrence Okolie used to be trained by Shane McGuigan back when he was WBO champion, though some time passed and they ended up in opposite corners. Shane was in Chris Billum-Smith's corner and Lawrence was being trained by somebody else.
Sugar Hill.
I think the difference is when Lawrence and Shane parted ways, they parted ways amicably. This situation between Michaela and Kay Koroma seems less than amicable. A Sandy Ryan versus Michaela Mayer fight makes perfect sense for all concerned. With all the other belts seemingly tied up within the promotional world of Boxer, Mayer offers Ryan a major fight while she waits for the possible Boxer in-house unification series to play out. Eddie Hearn has previously mentioned Mayer has a potential fight for Ryan, but citing the issues with both fighters being with the same team as a possible obstacle in making that fight. That obstacle has now been removed. For Mayer, it's simply her way back in.
Her way back in the world title picture, and she's hungry.
Perhaps feeling betrayed that Kay Koroma was in her corner first, and he sparks a working relationship with a rival boxer that's on a rival platform.
It's a conflict of interest because Kay Koroma has the inside track on Michaela Mayer. So if you're training Sandy Ryan,
who Michaela Mayer wants to fight, well, whose corner were you going to be in? Kay Koroma's been with Michaela Mayer a lot longer than he's been with Sandy. The thing with Sandy's recent. You may recall that Sandy Ryan fought Jessica McCaskill and the fight was scored a draw, at which point Sandy decided she wanted to make some changes to her corner and left her longtime trainer, Clifton Mitchell. She hired Kay Koroma.
And all of that is recent. All of that was last year.
So the fact that Kay and Michaela were working together longer than Kay and Sandy, well, you see how it looks to Michaela. In the end, I don't blame her. I do think she did what she had to do.
This guy's putting you in a situation where you have to.
We'll talk more about it in another video. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, I'm sure you guys know by now, Ryan's B sample came back positive for Osterin, which is a surprise to no one. I mean, if you've been following the sport long enough, this won't be your first rodeo. You will have seen this exact situation play out several times already, that whatever's in the A sample is also in the B sample because it's the same piss, it's the same urine, just in two different bottles.
That's what I said would happen.
Thus, anyone who is thinking that the B sample might somehow exonerate Ryan Garcia of culpability has to be someone so naive, so unfamiliar with this process in the sport that you would think that was going to clear him.
You're clueless.
The chances of that happening were slim to nil. Veteran boxing scribe Dake Jonovan said, "I can confirm via multiple sources that both of Ryan's B samples from April 19th and April 20th post-fight were tested and analyzed. Both show presence of Osterin, confirming A sample results. Expected outcome, rarely different between A and B samples."
That's what I said.
Anti-doping expert Victor Conti stated, "The burden of proof is now 1,000% on Ryan Garcia to prove where he got exposure to Osterin. The strict liability rule requires him to prove that there was no intent to cheat, and if he is unable to do so, then I believe he will be fined and suspended by the New York State Athletic Commission, as well as the outcome of the contest being overturned and ruled a no contest. The loss will be stricken from Devin Haney's record, but the fight itself won't be stricken from the memories of the people who saw it."
Saw Devin get his ass kicked.
By a guy he was so widely favored to beat, and some are hanging on to that because for them, it's all about rubbing it in. It's all about rubbing it in Devin Haney's face that he lost. They don't care if Ryan cheated or not.
Morally ambiguous.
Now, Ryan Garcia's legal team have issued a statement after his drug test B sample results from the Devin Haney fight also came back positive for Osterin. They say he has done a hair test, which has come back negative, and believe he is a victim of supplement contamination.
Oh, so it wasn't the lizard people?
Ryan Garcia is committed to clean and fair competition and has never intentionally used a banned substance. Soon after being notified of his positive test, Ryan voluntarily had his hair collected and shipped to Dr. Pascal Kintz, the foremost expert in toxicology and hair sample analysis. The results of Ryan's hair sample came back negative. This is consistent with contamination and demonstrably proves that Ryan had not ingested Osterin over a period of time. The only way he would have had any advantage whatsoever in the ring. Ryan has voluntarily submitted to tests throughout his career, which have always shown negative results. He also tested negative multiple times, leading up to the fight against Haney. All of these factors combined with his ultra-low levels of samples taken on April 19th and the 20th in the billionth of a gram range point to Ryan being the victim of supplement contamination and never receiving any performance-enhancing benefit from the microscopic amounts in his system. We are certain that one of the natural supplements Ryan was using in the lead-up to the fight will prove to be contaminated and are in the process of testing the supplements to determine the exact source.
Oh, so you want to blame it on the supplements. What's funny is Ryan Garcia, out of his own mouth, said he doesn't use any supplements.
He said that. He said that on his own social media. Ryan's biggest problem is Ryan.
What?
Any ammunition that anyone has to attack him and his character is ammunition that he gave them because he can't shut the fuck up.
Ryan, if you were the commissioner of boxing, what was one thing you would change?
Imagine a boxing league where you could do steroids.
Imagine a what where you can do what?
Ryan, if you were the commissioner of boxing, what was one thing you would change?
Imagine a boxing league where you could do steroids.
Think you've been in the ring with someone that's on steroids?
Oh yeah, I thought Oscar Duarte was on steroids. I'm not gonna lie, that is crazy.
There's a thing called projecting, where you envision that others out there possess the same inadequacies as you do, so you start accusing them of things that you're doing.
The byproduct of a guilty conscience.
You tell yourself that, well, I'm doing it, so other people must be doing it too. And you know what? They might be, but that doesn't exonerate you of culpability. When you say that you think Oscar Duarte was on something in the buildup of the Haney fight, it turns out that you were on something. While you're saying you wish there could be a steroid league where fighters are allowed to use steroids.
Freudian slip?
I mean, in hindsight, now that you've tested positive for a SARM, it just sounds a lot like you were worried that you might get caught in the act, and you fantasized about not having to hide what you're doing. If there were a league that allowed you to do what you do.
And the hair follicle testing?
Does that clear Ryan Garcia? Does that exonerate him of culpability? Well, not according to anti-doping expert Angel Memo Heredia. So much of what Victor Conti has had to say about all of this has been dismissed.
He's an anti-doping expert too.
But so much of what he's had to say has been dismissed on the premise that clandestinely he's working with the Haneys to sabotage Ryan Garcia. That's the conspiracy that some have been propagating, that Ryan himself has been propagating. But what about Angel Memo Heredia? What about what he has to say about it?
He's on the opposite side of the aisle. He's not friends with Victor Conti, and he doesn't work with the Haneys.
As it pertains to the hair follicle testing that Ryan's team hopes exonerates him of culpability, Angel says, if hair sample results are correct, that could only prove an involuntary doping case. But where are his supplements? They came back negative of Osterin and his samples positive. Osterin hair testing is not as effective as hair testing for, say, clenbuterol. Keep that in mind, that it does matter what you're looking for.
Not all banned substances are created equal.
Try as they might, this is not a slam dunk for Ryan's defense from his legal team. He's not out of the woods yet.
Why do we gotta go through this dog and pony show? The guy's guilty. He is so clearly guilty.
This entire process, whenever a fighter tests positive for a banned substance, it's like we're just going through the motions, tend to mount to a ritual at this point.
Kind of.
Ceremony. What stands out the most to me is that the more damning elements of this case, they're not coming to us by way of Bill or Devin Haney, or even Victor Conti. They're coming to us by way of Ryan himself. He assassinated his own character by not shutting the fuck up.
So all you gotta do is get off of social media and shut the fuck up.
Now, for a lesser portion of this story that now comes to the forefront. Throughout all of this, for some reason, Ryan Garcia has been taking shots at social media influencer, podcaster, and WWE superstar Logan Paul. Logan, who reacted to all of this by saying, wait, so Ryan Garcia, influencer boxer, who lies about everything, who thinks the earth is flat, who's an alleged pedophile, who weaponizes Christianity, tested positive twice?
2 times.
For a banned substance.
No way. Throughout all of this, for some reason, Ryan has been taking shots at Logan. That's why Logan took this as an opportunity to take shots at him. And his drink.
And his brand. The reason I didn't spend more time on it, the reason I didn't cover it on this channel is because that really just pertains to influencer stuff, not really boxing stuff. But now it's gonna come to a head, as Ryan Garcia followed up by saying, if you follow Logan, you're hating on kids for real. That's sad as fuck. Jake is cool though. Jake Paul, Logan Paul's brother. No cap.
What?
The moment this entire anti-doping fiasco started, Ryan Garcia started taking arbitrary shots at most everyone, people in boxing and people outside of it. Eddie Hearn, Victor Conti, the Haneys, trying to blame them. And for some reason, somehow, Logan Paul got all wrapped up in all of this. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure how or why, but apparently he's got a problem with him.
Except with him, he may be punching above his weight. He may be poking the bear because Ryan Garcia's real strength is his social media following. Logan has an even bigger following than Ryan does.
And Ryan's been taking shots at him. And his brand.
Bad idea.
This was Ryan's response by saying I'm killing kids. Dog, I don't even know what you're talking about. You don't have my number, I don't have your number. And yet you continue to lie. This is why we're suing you for defamation. You are so stupid. Promise 1,000 employees, dog. We're a multi-billion-dollar business. It's not just me, so we're certainly not going to let you come in here and damage the company for attention. And by the way, the suit we're filing is in Texas, so there's a mutual combat law. If you're feeling some type of way, you want to duke it out outside the court.
King Ryan declined. Screenshot. Ryan, why you you don't want to go live? Because he knows he's gonna say some stupid shit. Come on, bro. He said forget you. It's so stupid, Ryan. It's like when he took the knee against Gervonta, he gave it up. The fact that you have resorted to fabricating messages from me is pathetic. You are a pathetic little weasel liar. That's what you go. Just faking a message and post it on Instagram? Where you at now, Ryan? Oh, and I'm willing to have a conversation with him, and he keeps declining, but he's in my DMs going crazy. I mean, look, he has a lot on his plate. He just got caught for lying about taking PEDs. He just got sued by Prime.
So apparently, in the chaos that this entire anti-doping fiasco has created in Ryan Garcia's would-be boxing career, he's also got a beef going on with Logan Paul, and he's not taking it lying down. They have filed suit against Ryan Garcia formally for all the defamatory things he's been saying about him on his social media. And it seems that Logan Paul means business. He was a social media influencer long before Ryan ever came around.
Yeah.
He's been around since the days of Vine.
Ryan's whole thing is that he's got some followers on Instagram and some more on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it.
But you don't actually have more followers than this guy. No, you're not as influential, as big an influencer as this guy. He's got followers on YouTube, followers on Instagram, followers on X, followers all over the place.
Punching above his weight. It's like his problems are just beginning.